This is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's episode of the Passion to Profits podcast. Now, in today's podcast episode, I want to talk about broke thinking and talking. Now, what triggered this podcast episode today was something that was a comment I got from yesterday's podcast episode. Now, in the podcast episode yesterday, I was talking about not treating your passion business as a side hustle, as a hobby, because if that's the way you look at it, you're never going to be successful. Now, I got a comment below one of my videos on YouTube where somebody said, well, that's the wrong way to think about it. That if you treat your passion business or your passion like a business, it will become a chore, and it will become a chore that you don't like, and you are going to hate your passion. Now, this person who said that wasn't thinking, and that is broke thinking. And too many of us think that way. And in this podcast episode, I'm going to give you some things to think about. Maybe these are thoughts that you think yourself, or things that you say, or things that you've heard from other people and assume it's the truth. And in this podcast episode, I'm going to give you 10 things that are broke things that you need to turn around, stop thinking, and stop talking about because they're not true. Now, the first thing was what that person said yesterday, was that if I turn my passion into a business, I'll hate it. Now, is that true? Is that really true? Do I know that this person who made that comment is that what they're doing at the minute? Are they actually trying to build a business around your passion or their passion? You've been guaranteed? No. They just had this brain fart of an idea or heard it from somewhere else and they just commented on it. Now, if they are correct that your passion does become a chore over time, will you eventually hate it? No, I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is that when you love what you do, if you find days where you're not motivated, you're not inspired, you don't want to do the work, you will find it a lot easier to show up and do it, because at the very worst, it's going to be likable. You know, if you love Star Trek or maybe Star Wars and you're just an absolute fan, you love reading about it, you love talking about it, you love watching videos about it, and if that is your passion, you're going to find that maybe the odd day you might be a little bit tired talking about Star Wars or Star Trek, but even on the low days, you'll still find it easy to show up and probably record a video. Maybe show people around a collection of toys you have in the house. Maybe write a blog post about it, because it's likable on the low days. But people come online trying to make money, doing things they have no love for, and then they wonder why they give up after a couple of weeks and aren't successful. Now, if you think about the person who is passionate about what they do, even on their low points, that thing that they like doing, that is a passion, will be likable. They'll be able to take actions. They'll be able to make the videos, write the blog posts, or do whatever they need to do on the low days. But if you come at something that you've got no love for, and you find your motivation on that day is absolutely zero, you're guaranteed you're not going to make the videos, because you already detest what you do. So I would argue with that person is wrong. That even if you do turn your passion into a chore, that even on the bad days, you will be able to show up and do the work. And I want you to think about this for a moment. There are so many people offline working in 9-to-5 jobs that they absolutely detest and yet still go to it. Now, if you had a business that was your passion and it wasn't, it was becoming a bit of a chore, do you not think that at least you are in a better situation than someone who's going off to a job that they detest? Now, you can be guaranteed that you are going to stick with what you're doing longer than maybe sticking with that 9-to-5 job that you absolutely detest. And that's a point that person missed, that even if your passion does become a chore, it will be a chore that you like doing. Now, what I'd say as well to another broke thought that we have is that I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to build a business around my passion. I'm not ready to record my videos. I'm not ready to write blog posts. I'm not ready to record podcast episodes. I'm just not ready. Now, that's another lie. And it's broke thinking. Because you're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready to record your first video. You're never going to be ready to write your first blog post. You're not going to be ready to record a podcast episode. There's not going to be any magical moment where you're going to jump out of bed, pull back the curtains, the sun is going to be shining through the clouds, and you're going to say to yourself, this is the day. This is the day that I'm going to record that video. And you know that for a fact, because as you look back through the rest of your life, there's never been those magical moments where everything was hunky-dory, everything was perfect, all your ducks were lined up, and that was the perfect day to take action. So you're never going to be ready. I was never ready the first time I recorded my video. I was never ready the first time I wrote my first fiction book. I was definitely not ready the first time I recorded a podcast episode. But yet, here I am. So you need to stop telling yourself the fact that I'm not ready, or that I'll wait until I'm ready, because you'll never be ready. And you know, looking back through the rest of your life, that is a lie, because it's never happened in the past and it's never going to happen in the future. You're not going to be ready today. You're not going to be ready next week, next month, next year. You're just going to kick that can down the line and you're never going to take action on it. So stop telling yourself that lie, that you're not ready. You are ready and you can start where you are right now. Another thing that this person that commented below my video yesterday said, well, it's not about the money. I just want to enjoy my passion. That's fair enough. You can enjoy your passion. You can be a musician maybe who loves the passion, who loves playing music, who would gig all over the country for free, perform for free. But how long would you keep doing that? How long would you keep a roof over your head? How long would you be able to feed yourself? How long would you be able to care yourself? If you give everything away for free and you're not making any money out of it, well, do you think that's going to last too long? No. So what you need to do, again, it's a thought that a lot of people don't have. They feel that my passion should be separate from money, that money is an evil thing, that if I ask for money for something that I love doing, well, then it's not fair. It's not right. I'm cheating the system, because it shouldn't be easy for me to do something and for me to accept a lot of money for it. That's a mental block that you have in your head. And if you continue along thinking that I need to do my passion for free, you're going to be broke. You're going to hate it. You're going to hate the people that you are providing that service or that talent to. You're going to hate them because they're not taking care of you. And eventually you will, over time, drop out, because you'll probably lose the roof over your head. You'll probably starve in the street and no one's there to help you. So if you really think that your passion should be something that should, keep you going in life, it should keep you going financially as well too. It should put a roof over your head and food in your belly. And if you have been giving away your passion for free, I'm going to tell you that you need to stop doing that right now, because the people who take all that off you for free are going to abuse that. And you need to focus on the people who are going to pay you for your passion. So that is broke thinking, and that is broke thinking that's not going to help you. So even though something is a passion of yours, even if you do find it very easy to do, you should be accepting money for it. Because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, money makes the world go round. Money is what your bank manager, the mortgage people, the doctors, everybody is looking for. You can show up and try and pay with passion, but people don't accept passion in the real world. But what they do accept is cash. So you need to knock that idea on its head, that just because you're passionate doesn't mean you can't charge for it. Another excuse that people have is, I don't have the time. Now, none of us have the time. Everybody has 24 hours that they need to use wisely. Now, if you take 8 hours out for a good night's sleep, you've got 16 hours. So how are you spending the 16 hours? Are you wasting that time on trivial things, or are you focusing on high value things? I can spend my 16 hours doing things that aren't moving the needle forward. I can read books, I can watch Netflix, I can go on social media all day. I can fill my day with all that stuff. But is that going to help me? Is that going to improve my bank balance? Is it going to help me get closer to building this business around my passion? No, it's not. So when it comes to how you spend your day, you need to ask yourself this question as you find yourself doing trivial things. And just ask yourself, is this the best use of my time? Is the best use of my time sitting on TikTok all day watching videos? Is this the best use of my time being in a forum where we're just ranting and raving at each other and just talking about Trump or talking about this or that or the other? Is that the best use of your time? Is that putting money in your pocket? Is that building your business? You're going to find most times it's not. Now, I know we need to take time out of our day because we have to. You might have a day job, you probably might have family to take care of and things like that. So you may already have commitments that eat into a lot of the 16 hours. But you can be guaranteed that there is a segment of your day that you should be focusing on high value things. All the trivial stuff should be knocked away. You should look at what you're doing and you say to yourself, is what I'm doing right now bringing me toward the perfect life that I want, or is it just keeping me here? And most times you'd find it's just keeping us here. And what we need to do is we need to keep our eyes on the prize. Say to ourselves every hour or so, is this the best use of my time? Is there something better that I could be doing here? I can sit in the car here wasting my time, or I can take my phone out and record a video, or maybe you do a podcast episode, but how can I make my hours more productive and more valuable, that I'm going to get to where I want to get to a lot quicker? So see your time as valuable. You can make as much money as you want in the world, but you can't generate more time. The clock is constantly ticking, and you need to value your time as more valuable than cash, because you can't get it back. So you need to focus on what is the most valuable thing you can do in the free time that you have. Another excuse that I see people make is there's too much competition. Again, that's broke thinking, because what they're thinking is there's so much competition out there on the internet. There's so many people on TikTok, there's so many people on YouTube, there's so many people with blogs and websites and all that, and that if I show up today, well then I'm just not going to stand out. And the reason that is broke thinking is because when people think like that, they are comparing themselves to everyone else. They're thinking to themselves, well, my videos are going to be like everybody else's videos. My blog posts are going to be like everybody else's. My website is going to be like everybody else's. But if you put more of you in your business, you are going to separate yourself from the competition, because you're going to show the world that you are unique. You're not a copycat. So your videos are going to be your videos. Your blog posts are going to be your blog posts. And your TikToks are going to be your TikToks. So your content is going to make you separate from everyone else. And again, too, we believe this kind of idea, like I said yesterday in yesterday's podcast episode, is that we have this notion of the competition. The competition is what we need to fight against. The competition is I need to get customers from the competition. I need to pull traffic from the competition. Competition is going to bring me down. But as I said yesterday, the only competition that's going to bring you down is you. You are going to be the one that's going to screw this up, because you are going to stop doing the work that needs to be done. You are not going to do it to your best ability, and it's not going to be the competition who's in charge of your content today. It's not the competition who's in charge of you showing up or not. It's not the competition that's in charge of you doing your best work or not. That's all on your shoulders. And if you don't show up, don't create good content, don't create good products, well then you've only got yourself to blame. So the competition has nothing to do with it. You need to focus back on you, and you need to put you in your content. Make sure you put your personal stamp, your brand on everything that you do, so that you stand out from everyone else. So you're just not another face in the crowd. Another thing you need to think about is not being good enough. Again, that's broke thinking, because it's the thinking that a lot of us have, that when we come online, when we're about to do something we've never done before, immediately we have this thought, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to make videos. I'm not good enough to have a podcast. I'm not good enough to create digital products. I'm just not good enough. And that is true. You're not good enough. But how could you be good enough on your first day recording a video? How could you be good enough recording your first podcast episode? How do you think your first digital product is going to be good enough if it's your first digital product? Now, common sense would tell you that the only way you're going to improve, the only way you're going to get better, is by showing up and doing the work over and over and over and over again. And even though you feel that you're not good enough on day one, you still would record your video. You do it in day 2, day 3, day 4. And then over time you would find that you get better at video. You get more comfortable on it, that people would like what you do. But you can't expect to be at a starting point of being good enough before you start. It's like filling your head with all this knowledge and saying, I need to gather all the knowledge all over the world before I can start. Now, how long is it going to take you to gather all that knowledge? And even at that point, do you still think you'll be good enough to start? Again, that's a mental block we have. We believe we're not good enough, and we'll never be good enough. And again, we'll kick that can down the road and we won't get started. So even though you don't feel you're good enough, that's no excuse not to show up today. That's no excuse not to make a video, write your blog post, create your ebook, or do whatever you want to do. That's no excuse. Again, that's broke talking and broke thinking. Again, another one is, what if I fail? A lot of us are afraid to start because we're afraid of failing. And if we don't start, well, it means we didn't fail and we protected ourselves. And even though we protected ourselves, our life doesn't change. That big goal, that big dream, Doesn't come anywhere closer to us, but at least we're safe because we didn't fail. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. Would you not rather fail a couple of times and get to that goal that you want? Or would you rather play it safe and be here in this nice little comfy comfort zone where you don't achieve anything and your dreams don't come to you? You don't make the money, you don't build a business around your passion, and you don't have any success. Now, you can't have one or the other. If you're looking for the big dream or the big goal, it's going to involve failure. And if it's a huge big dream or a big goal, it's going to involve a lot of failure. You're going to fail again and again and again, and you're going to keep failing as you are working your way towards your goal. Again, I think it's got something to do with school. When we come out of school, we're afraid of failing because we feel that we're being tested. And that, that big red pen that scribbled all over the page and told us that we were, a certain type of person, a D student, an E student, an F student, is something that we should protect ourselves for the rest of our life. And we think we fail. And I think when it comes to failure, we see failure as something that you can't learn anything from. That if you failed, you simply failed. But really, when you fail, it's never kind of a zero gain, because there's always something you gain from a failure. Like this video here. I can record this video, and this video could be an absolute failure. Now, I am willing to show up and record this video, regardless if it's a success or if it's a failure. Now, if I find in the next couple of days that maybe nobody watches this video, nobody listens to this podcast, and it's a complete and absolute failure, at least I've learned something from it. At least I've learned, well, this is a topic that I won't talk about again. And I've also learned a little bit more about myself because I sat down here for however long it took me to record this podcast episode. So I've actually added a bit more to my character. I have shown that I am committed to the journey. I am committed to do what I want to do. And even though it's a failure, I have still gained something from it. And you need to knock out that idea out of your head that a failure is a zero net gain, that there's nothing gained from it. You're always gaining something from failure. You're learning knowledge. You're learning something new about yourself that when you go back to your next attempt, it means you can just remember not to talk about that topic because you know it's not going to work again. So your second video is probably going to be a little bit better. But again, if you fail in that one, again, you take the knowledge from video 2 and then you take that into video 3, knowing that you're not going to talk about that topic. So each time your videos are getting better and better and better. So again, too many of us see failure as just failure. And again, that's broke thinking and broke talking that is keeping us in our little safe space. Now you can stay in that little safe space. I don't really care. But if you have this big dream or this big goal, you need to be willing to step into the unknown. And the unknown is filled with failure and success. We don't know what's going to happen next. You could meet a string of failures and then have a string of successes. Or you might have maybe a success, a failure, success, failure. You don't know. But you need to take the chance. And if you don't take the chance, you can forget that big dream or goal of yours off in the future. It's never going to happen. Now as well too, another broke thinking and broke talking thought that people have is, I need the perfect opportunity. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to wait around for the perfect opportunity to come along. I'm going to sit here on the edge of the internet and I am going to look at what everybody else is doing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe just study the podcasters for a while and think to myself, well, is podcasting a good opportunity for me? Or maybe I look over the bloggers. Or maybe TikTok might be a good opportunity for me. Or maybe an e-commerce store. Or maybe I should be doing something in Etsy. And so you're standing on the edge of the internet wondering, well, which opportunity should you go for? And because you're just looking at everything, your whole life passes by and you never took action. You never took action on any opportunity. Now you're going to find that opportunity does knock on the door, but it knocks on the door of people who are already up and running. And you're going to find that by you taking action, you're going to learn things. You're going to discover things about what you're doing. Again, as I said here before, I could find that as I'm recording these videos, that maybe these videos aren't any good, but maybe because I took these videos and turned them into blog posts, I find that maybe my blog posts take off. So all of a sudden now I've learned I have an opportunity to see that blogging is where I should be going instead of recording videos. But the only reason I learned that was because I was already up and running. I was already taking action. I was paying attention to what was working and what wasn't working. And then I veered off in that direction. But if I'm standing on the sideline and I'm looking at videos or I'm looking at Facebook or I'm looking at blogging I'm not going to know which one is best for me. I could pick which one, but I don't know. But it's only by me taking action that I'm actually going to see what's working and what's not working. And you're going to find that opportunities will come to you. And you're going to find that people will give you opportunities when they already see that you are someone who's up and working and trying to achieve something. You're never going to find somebody who's going to come on your door today, walk into your home, over to you, sit on the couch and hand you an opportunity. They're not going to do that because they're just going to see you as a couch potato. But if they already see you trying your best, taking action, people will be attracted to you. They will give you opportunities. But if you're not doing anything, well then that opportunity, you're going to miss it. Because as I said, you're going to be standing on the sideline and your whole life is going to go past you and you're never going to avail of any opportunities. So even though you don't know what is the right opportunity, you need to get in, you need to get taking actions, and then as I said, you're going to see things are going to start to happen. You're going to be veering one way or the other way depending on what success you have. That's where you're going to find your opportunities. They're not going to come to you. You have to work your way toward them. Now, another excuse that I see people having is, I don't have the time, the money, or the skill. Here's the thing. You're never going to have the time. You're never going to have the money. You're never going to have the skill. You know, I didn't have the money to start doing what I'm doing right now. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the skill. But what I needed to realize was that I needed to start where I was as me and just begin there. You know, you probably have heard this saying like the journey of 10,000 steps or to 10,000 miles begins with a single step. And too many of us think we need the right trainers. You know, we need the right trainers before we go on this big walk. But you could begin that walk in a pair of sandals. You could begin that walk in your bare feet. But every step you would take would bring you to the end of that journey. But too many of us are waiting for the right, experience, the right skills, the right time, the right money before we begin. We're waiting for those fabulous runners before we'll start the walk. But you can be guaranteed that the money probably is not going to show up at any point in the future. You're not going to get more time in your day. You're probably not going to develop any more skills or any abilities by just sitting here. So what you need to do is you need to start where you are. And if you think, well, right now you're not the right person for it, or that you're broke, or that you just haven't got the right skills, here's something I want you to think about. And you can find this anywhere on the internet. And that is, someone is doing what you would like to do with less time, with less ability, and with less skills than you have. Have you ever seen sometimes maybe somebody who has a disability? Somebody maybe who was born with a genetic disability, or someone who maybe had an accident and lost maybe a couple of limbs. And we see these people going to the Olympics. We see these people throwing themselves out of the airplanes. We see these people, doing great feats. And those people are limited. Those people have disabilities. And then here is us waiting for the right moment with all our abilities, and yet we're not taking action. And sometimes those people are what we need to, look up to and realize, isn't that amazing that person's actually doing that they're not allowing that to hold them back. And you're going to find that, as I said, somebody is doing what you would like to do who doesn't have the ability that you have, talent, money, looks, or whatever, but they're already up and running. And they are going to be light years ahead of you if you are not taking action today. And then finally, if it's meant to be, it'll be. Again, that's stupid, broke thinking. That's like the field of dreams that if you build it, they will come. Now, I can build a filling station out in the middle of the countryside. And I can have my petrol pumps, my gas pumps, and I can be standing there all day waiting for a car to turn up. Now, that's a bit of a kind of idiotic thinking that just because I put a gas station in the middle of nowhere, that people are going to show up. Yes, the other person might be driving by and might need gas and pull in. But if I've got a gas station, wouldn't it make sense to tell everybody what I was doing? Advertise it, try to get my name out there in as many different places as I can to attract people and customers to me. It'll make sense to do that. So if you think by having a passion, it means that for some reason, people are just going to magically come out of the woodwork and find you and give you opportunities, you're deluded. It's never going to happen. So even though you might have the passion, even though everybody says you're talented and you're brilliant, if no one knows that you're there, well, then no one knows that you're there. You know, you can visualize, you can say mantras, you can do affirmations, you can do all those things. But none of those are going to bring people to your door. So even if you have a passion, don't sit on your butt. Don't expect people just to randomly fall across you on the internet, just to land on your blog one day and realize how amazing you are. You need to get off your butt. You need to get out there. You need to get knocking on the doors. You need to get your content on social media. You need to show up on videos. You need to do blog posts. But you need to tell as many people as possible what you're doing to give life and success an opportunity to get people to come to you, to actually put the odds in your favor. If you're sitting on your butt right now, you can be almost guaranteed the chance of you being successful is 0, a big duck egg. But the more you put yourself out there, the more you try and put yourself in front of more people, you're going to find that percentage of success is going to increase. So too many of us unfortunately think that just because we record videos or just because we have got a website or a blog, it means the internet is just going to trip over it and find us and we're just going to retire. It's not going to happen. It's a nice thought that, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. But again, I think that is just like Disney thinking. That someday your fairy godmother is just going to appear one day, wave the little magic wand over her head, and then all of a sudden, success is going to be there. Success isn't going to be like that, not in the real world. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. I hope maybe some of the things I've said have maybe tweaked some of the nonsense that you tell yourself. Again, it's all nonsense we all tell ourselves. Now, I'd love to say that, I came on the internet thinking perfectly like this. No, I had a lot of those stupid thoughts in my head, but from learning things over the years and learning from people who are a lot cleverer than me, I realized I was totally wrong and that broke thinking and talking was keeping me where I was. So if you enjoyed this podcast episode or if you'd like to leave a comment below this video, please feel free to do it. I won't bite, I promise. And as always, have a lovely day. Take care. Bye-bye.